Don't hit your own mic, RJ. Amateur. What's up, kid folk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always college football related, sports related. We have a good time. Today is the first day of the early signing period where the kiddos that have been committed finally get to sign on the dotted line. And we have mass hysteria of the good kind for me because like Flipsmas is awesome. Like Flipmas is one of my favorite days of the year because Flipmas is when the dude that you thought you needed, the dude that you thought you had is the dude that decides, I'm going over here now. And some of that has to do with, yes, the children are making decisions that affect their lives and wherever they want to go play college football is where they want to go play college football. You will understand that on this here show, on this here channel, we are pro player. That's what we are here. We want to see the kids have more agency in what they choose to do when it comes to them playing football, especially during their recruitment, because it's the only time in their lives where they're going to have legitimate sway and legitimate clout about their career in football as a college football player, right? You get that back to some degree when you go into the NFL, but not really because you are what you are by then. And if you are Patrick Mahomes, yeah, you're going to be able to negotiate a $500 million contract. But that ain't what most people are, right? What most people in the NFL are 3 years and they're out. 3 years of trying to save the money that you are making while also trying to take care of the entire family that helped you get on. That's what you're doing. Now, that starts with this period. It's my favorite period because the kiddos are still becoming who they are. Some of them are extremely bright and extremely smart. Others are looking around going, your facilities suck, your facilities suck, your facilities suck. Oh, you got nice facilities. I think I can go there. And that's not what it is for everybody. But now that we have the name, image, and likeness age coming in, and we also have, check it, we also have more coaches that understand how to sell this to you. We're getting some really interesting signings, some really interesting recruiting classes. As a matter of fact, I had a buddy of mine who has a kiddo going through 2021 recruitment right now ask this question about, is it weird that we've seen fewer early signing day signings than we have in recent years? Saying, no, it's a pandemic. Didn't nobody get to go to any visits, like no official visits. The only dudes that got to visit your campus were the ones that put gas in their car and drove all the way to your campus, right? And I think that's one of the reasons you're able to get Deion Warren, who was committed to play at Georgia, say, I'm going to Jackson State, which is not exactly what we expected to happen, right? Like, on the one hand, cool. Deion Sanders will spit his game. And shout out to all the head coaches that came out of the Glen Ross University because they understand what it is. You need players to win championships. You don't need coaches. You don't need schemes. You need players. And if you want to grow yourself into a for real juggernaut, you're always going to have to get players. Okay? Deion Sanders doesn't tell you what scheme he's running, can't show you what he did other than what was at high school with his kid playing quarterback at Trinity and Shador, and yet it's Deion, right? For which there has not been a better cornerback on the face of the planet, period, right? And I say that both from the high horse of having seen Deion Sanders play, both at Florida State and in the NFL, and as an evaluator of defensive backs. Many of you know that I sit on the selection committee for the Paycom Jim Thorpe Award, and I really take that seriously. So when we start talking about defensive backs and defensive back play, yeah, I got some things to say. So for Deion Warren to commit to play for Deion is to commit to play for one of the best corners, the best corner to ever do it. Now, on the other hand, you flipped away from Georgia. Georgia had a dude win the Paycom Jim Thorpe Award 2 years ago. His name's DeAndre Baker. Georgia has had Eric Stokes just coming out doing the doggone thing, right? Georgia has had Richard LeCount, right? Georgia's got dudes in its secondary. Hell, J.R. Reed was a Paycom Jim Thorpe Award finalist last year. And that dude was at Tulsa and then ended up leaving Tulsa because he said, I'm better than them. And he was right. Yeah, I mean, because like they played an SEC championship game against a juggernaut LSU team, and then they go and they beat the hell out of Baylor in the Sugar Bowl. So for Deion Warren, the number one cornerback in the junior college ranks in 2021, to flip his commitment not just to another to another Power 5, but to an FCS school, to the SWAC, to Deion Sanders, feels like a harbinger of things to come. Now, I hope that it is, because I would like nothing more than to see Jackson State go in destroying people. Not particularly just destroying the WAC, but like I would like to see Jackson State challenge for a national championship. Do I think that they're gonna in his first year? Hell no. Hell no. But you know what? You're going to need Deion Warrens to get there. And for you to flip that dude from Georgia might be the biggest win that, well, Deion Sanders gets for the next year, quite honestly. That's tremendous. That's just massive. Xavier Sorey also makes you feel better if you're Georgia, right? He commits, he signs with Georgia Bulldogs. And then, you know, with the exception of just a handful of dudes, everybody else is pretty much gone where we expected them to go, right? And I made sure to include Xavier Sorey there because he's a 5-star linebacker and you understand what that is. Donovan Edwards ends up committing signing with Michigan, giving them another top tailback and a top 50 player to go along with J.J. McCarthy in that backfield. USC is continuing to get better as they were able to go get Jackson Dart out of Canyon, right, in Utah. Now, they played a bunch of football games this year. They were actually one of the first teams to start playing football this season, right? They just said, we're going to go out and do this. But the other reason I like Jackson Dart is not because he's just blasted up the rankings and he's committed to play at USC along with Miller Moss for Clay Helton and Graham Harrell. It's because he comes out of the same canyon that Zach Wilson did. And many of you have Zach Wilson as a Heisman candidate. I do not. However, I've been talking with some NFL folks, NFL personnel folks about, you know, players here and there. And I've been told that, RJ, the Zach Wilson hype is real. And I'm going, I mean, I'll defer to their wisdom on that. I'm the high school, college dude going to the NFL draft. When you're evaluating a player for the NFL, especially at the quarterback level, you're evaluating a different set of skills and a totally different game. And we've talked about that at length, and we will continue to talk about that at length. One of the other things that I thought was really interesting about the Jackson Dart landing spot for USC is that if Jake Garcia doesn't decommit earlier, perhaps we're talking about Jackson Dart going almost anywhere else. And then Ole Miss managing to go and get 4-star in-state quarterback MJ Daniels. Like, that was awesome. And then watch him flip to Mississippi State. Like, that was... I was thinking the lane train was going to be working overtime. Like, I thought the lane train was going to be able to put everything together. And then MJ Daniels is going to go play for Mike Leach. Duh. Right? And then we get him back going to Ole Miss. And I'm going, I can't keep up. I mean, I can't keep up because I kept up with Zach Evans' recruitment. But, like, that dude was the 197th overall recruit in the top 247 and had committed to Ole Miss in December and then later committed to Mississippi State in September, reaffirmed that commitment, and then flipped back to the Rebels on the day of when the dotted line has to be signed. Not unlike, you know, what we've seen in other places. Like I remember, you know, Jamar Chase had committed to like 5 different places before he ended up at LSU. Matter of fact, it's one of my favorite stories in recruiting because like David Beatty even managed to put up a cardboard fence around Jamar Chase committed to Kansas. And then there was Florida in there. And then he was going to go to Texas Christian. Yeah, Texas Christian Gloves in the box, getting ready to make his announcement on national television. But they ran out of time on the national television program. And Jamar Chase took that as a sign that he wasn't supposed to go to Texas Christian. Man ends up at LSU, wins the Biletnikoff Award en route to a national championship. And then forgoes his last year of playing college football because, well, he's going to be, if not wide receiver 1, at worst, wide receiver 3 at worst, and a first-round draft pick. Like, it's amazing. But, like, the big news, I think, is Deion Warren choosing to go to Jackson State. I don't know that we're going to find a bigger flip than Georgia to Jackson State, though there have been some in the running here, and we've seen a bunch of dudes, especially as it relates to Alabama and LSU, choose to do something else, like Keanu Coate, who was committed to LSU. He going to Bama now, right? And then there's taking a look at the rankings, which kind of feels useless right now, but we will do it because this is about 3 o'clock Central Standard Time. Alabama's at number 1 with 23 in the boat. Ohio State signed all 21 of its commits with 21 in the boat. Brief note on Ohio State. With Jack Sawyer signing his letter of intent, Ohio State became the first program in history to sign the number 1 player in back-to-back classes according to ESPN. Okay, just going to caveat, according to ESPN. Georgia's at number 3 with 20 commits. LSU's at number 4 with 21 commits. Clemson at number 5 with 18 commits. Will Shipley's going to turn them into just, again, running backs. Like, you're like, DeMarcus Bowman goes in the transfer portal. Comes out of Florida. Doesn't matter. We got Will Shipley coming in. Yikes, dog. And then Lynn J. Dixon is still back there behind Travis Etienne. Oregon at number 6. Oklahoma vaulting up to number 7. 16 commits, led by 5-star Caleb Williams, quarterback who Lincoln Riley said earlier today, that dude was willing to walk on to play at Oklahoma. Like, that's strong. That's strong. And then add Billy Bowman to the mix. Cody Jackson was on You Got Mount Moss, and he was the first commit to the 2020 class for Dennis Simmons and Lincoln Riley. You got dudes, man. You got dudes. Number 8, Florida. Number 9, Notre Dame. Number 10, Michigan, with USC charging all the way up, right? Like Fat Joe. Nothing can stop me. I'm all the way up. All right, let me see. There was a couple of other things that I wanted to get into. And I wanted to also discuss the college football playoff and championships. But first, I'm going to take a break, get to your questions, and clue you in. Got a big guest coming at 4 o'clock Central Standard Time. Big mystery guest. Can't wait for y'all to be around for that. So stick around. It's going to be a longer show. Going to give you about 90 minutes today. We about to get into it. Let's check out what we got going on in the chat. Right quick, right fast. Brandon Garcia, OU might end up with a top 5 class. I've said that. If Kamar Wheaton chooses Oklahoma on December 23rd, Tristan Lake chooses Oklahoma on January 2nd. Yo, dog, you got Savion Byrd earlier this morning. You were able to flip Billy Bowman from Texas. Like, it's there for you, as they say. It's there for you. But it also depends on what happens all around the country, because Alabama and, good grief, LSU have been just trading. And then we got Mike Loxley, who's closing in on people. It's ridiculous. It's getting awesome. RJ, why are 4-star dudes committing to L's? Man, what are you talking about, L's? Today is a day of celebration. Today is a celebration. The rest of the Big 12 must be looking at OU's class and just crying, especially Texas. As a matter of fact, let me go check it. Texas's ranking right quick. It is number 17. 19 commits. Gross. That's 1 spot behind Wisconsin, 1 spot ahead of Ole Miss. Ampersand U, Texas A&M is at 14. Mac Brown, North Carolina at 13. Miami, Miami at number 12. Man, I've been going back over some notes and revisiting the glory days of the U. And I got to tell you, some of these stories are ridiculous. I need to do like a whole show on this. Maybe Bruce Feldman be nice enough to join, talk about his book, Kane Mutiny, and maybe get some Billy Corbett in there. We'll see. Let's see. Shout out Doc Winston O Boogie, moderating the chat, moderating the channel. Says OU class equals beans don't burn on the grill. Hey, my man. Like, do y'all know that reference? Do y'all know that reference? Huh? If you don't know that reference, I need you to go check that reference out. I need to go do that. Matter of fact, I'm going to give you about 2 minutes to go check that out. And then if you can come back in here and you know what's up, you a real one. And you deserve to be on this channel. Like, you ought to be on this channel full time. Like, this channel's for you. We make Last Dragon references here. We make Dragon Ball Z references here. I'm wearing Julius Campbell's Remember the Titans jersey here. Okay? Golly. This dude said, beans don't burn on the grill. Took a whole lot of trying. Somebody gonna finish it. Just to get up that hill. What else we got up here? What else we got in here? Florida is done though. Yeah, I mean, but Florida Florida with 26 commits at number 8. Yeah, they feel done. And for Oklahoma to pass Florida with 10 fewer commits, hey, I say this all the time. You got to love recruiting to be good at recruiting. And there's a few dudes in college football who love recruiting, who love being on the phones, who love playing the video games with the children, who like being on the apps with the children, who are really going to call you on your birthday, call your girl on her birthday, call your moms on her birthday, who going to make sure that he crosses every T and dots every I. Nick Saban, Ryan Day, Kirby Smart, Ed Orgeron, Dabo Swinney, Lincoln Riley, Mario Cristobal, Mac Brown. Those are the 8 that I'm banking on right now. Lane Kiffin is trying to get into that territory, and he might, but he got some work to do. When Tom Herman was at Ohio State, I was talking that way about him. The way that folks talk about Brian Hartline at Ohio State is the way I was talking about Tom Herman at Ohio State. I don't know what needs to change because they got a top 5 recruiting class like 2 years ago. You know what I mean? It's just you ain't been able to translate that into what they call development. You know, when Urban Meyer is on Big Noon talking about you got to develop players, that's as blast as you going to be, baby. You know, and then we got reports of Tom Herman calling up at South Carolina AD going to talk about, what do you think? Think it's fit? Think it's fit? That's salacious, but also when you understand, look at me, I'm stuttering like Gary Barta. When you understand that somebody was trying to get you up out your job, you might go looking for another job. Not necessarily because you were upset. I get that. I get being upset. But also because you just want to be, working. You want a job. That's how this works. You want a job. I understand. No, I understand where everybody sits on that. Texas fans want to win. Tom Herman wants to win. Tom Herman wants more time to win. Also wants Texas to look at itself in the mirror and understand that this is who Texas is. Like who they have been with him is who they are. They're not Oklahoma, as much as they want to be. They're not Oklahoma. They have never been Oklahoma, though. That's the point. They have never been Oklahoma. That you gotta really drive that home for them. Because you're talking about 1970 for the last claimed national championship for Texas before 2005. Okay? You gotta really give that some thought. And then you gotta look at what they have done in their leagues. It's well traveled now, the statement that Texas has won 7 outright conference championships in the last 40 years. What isn't as well trotted out is since the formation of the Big 12, Oklahoma has twice as many championship appearances as the next closest school, and that's Texas. Oklahoma has won 5 consecutive league titles, same number as Clemson. Oklahoma is going to try to win its 6th consecutive this weekend against Iowa State. Iowa State has not won a Big 12 championship ever, and they have not won a conference championship since 1912. Perspective is Oklahoma's going for number 50, and they didn't win their first one until 1915. I'm saying there's a lot there. There's a lot to unpack there. Let me see. Let's see what we got here. Anything else? All right. So now I want to direct your attention to a column story I wrote, foxsports.com. Check it out. It just went up like an hour ago. The headline is Who Has Inside Track to the Playoff, in which I evaluate those 6 teams at the top of the college football playoff rankings that were revealed last night. And there's a link in the description of this here show where you can go check that out for real. So let's start with this. Alabama's getting in. Alabama likely could survive a blowout of Florida and still get into the playoff. They've been that good. They are in a tier unto themselves in this 2020 season. Even amid a pandemic, Alabama has been operating as if it does not exist. They've been that cold. Mac Jones might be the 4th best player on his football team, and he's a Heisman finalist. We all know Devontae Smith leading the voting right now for me. could be the first wide receiver to win the Heisman Trophy since 1991 when Desmond Howard did it. Before that, only 2 dudes at wide receiver had ever won that award. One of them is Tim Brown at Notre Dame, and he got his butt kicked by Miami, so much so that like Benny Blaze and them was like literally talking down to him. And those stories are amazing. Those stories are amazing. Like that was Lou Holtz's Notre Dame, and Miami had just lived to beat down Notre Dame, lived to beat down Penn State, lived to beat down Oklahoma. As the children say, on God, I'd be playing for Jimmy Johnson. Like, my goodness. So much swag. All right. So then we got Notre Dame, which is where I'm going with this. Who's also undefeated, playing for an ACC title. Feels like they get in. I don't know that they could survive a blowout in the way that Alabama might, but likely, right? We are moving as if the result for Notre Dame and Alabama does not matter in relation to the playoff. Alabama and Notre Dame are getting in, 2 10-0 teams that everybody's got a lot of respect for. It gets interesting if Notre Dame is able to beat Clemson, though. Clemson is a 10.5-point favorite going into this game, and a lot of that has to do with the return of Trevor Lawrence and 3 starters on defense, because Notre Dame needed double overtime at home with a true freshman quarterback making his second start for Clemson, and those 3 starters out to beat Clemson. And it's been Clemson's league. Like, Notre Dame is a visitor to their league, and it's going to be nice for Clemson to be able to get one back and to beat up on the Irish in a championship game. Not unlike Oklahoma, Texas in 2018. OU loses a nail-biter to Texas in the Red River rivalry, and Oklahoma gets one back in the Big 12 championship game, and that vaults Kyler Murray to the Heisman Trophy win, all while Jalen Hurts had to come off the bench to save Alabama's season and Tua Tagovailoa in the SEC championship game that year. The Ohio State Buckeyes at 5-0, they got to beat Northwestern. And you know what? They probably need to do it decisively, but they got to beat Northwestern. They are a 21.5-point favorite to Pat Fitzgerald's Wildcats. But, shout out to my man over on the Twitters at NUCatFan23. He points these things out, and I want to bring them to your attention. The Northwestern defense is first in Power 5 scoring defense, first in FBS for opponent passer racing, first in the FBS for opponent yards per pass attempt. They play defense. They play outstanding defense. I don't think that's going to change that Ohio State's going to win the Big Ten championship. I do think it could prevent you from running up the score. It's not that Northwestern can't play defense, it's that they can't score, right? It feels so long ago that fluke they had against Maryland feels that way. You're also talking about a Northwestern team that was only able to rush for 63 yards against a Michigan team that Ohio State stumped a mud hole in 52-12, down 23 players and a head coach. Okay? To say nothing of 3 other full-time assistants, including quarterbacks coach Corey Dennis, who also were unavailable to help them in that game. So carnage begins with the Irish getting an upset of Clemson, even as the higher-ranked team in the ACC title game, right? We get Pandora and her box showing up going, who likes the party? If we get Notre Dame beat Clemson, Northwestern beat Ohio State, Florida beat Alabama. All right, so let me unpack this first, and let's unpack it by starting with how does Florida just fall 1 spot after getting beat down at home by a 3-loss opponent that ain't no good? A 3-loss opponent that was down to 54 scholarship players, 33 of which were freshmen, with a true freshman starting at quarterback for the first time on the road. How? How, Sway? How? Just goes to show you the 13-member playoff selection committee values the SEC above all others, man. We got Alabama at 1. We got Texas A&M hoping and praying that somebody ahead of them slips and falls so they can slide into there at number 5. We got a 2-loss Iowa State at number 6, which is also interesting. And then we got Florida at number 7. All while we got to look at Cincinnati at 9 behind a 2-loss Georgia that ain't even going to get to play an SEC opponent this weekend if they get to play at all. Because Vanderbilt said, no, we don't want them problems. We done for the season. And that's what a bunch of teams have said. A bunch of teams have already said, we're not playing a bowl game. Are you crazy? No. For what? For who? For what? And then we got the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers, who have won more games than anybody else in 2020, staring down in the cellar at number 12, behind undefeated USC, ahead of undefeated USC at number 13. And SC gets to play a non-division winner in Oregon, where they're like a 1.5 point favorite, and could finish the season undefeated with a Pac-12 championship and maybe make the top 10, right? So we could end up with undefeated Cincinnati if they're able to beat Tulsa. Big if for me. Undefeated USC if they can beat Oregon, right? Undefeated Alabama, who's probably going to face the worst of these 4 teams, or these other 3 teams in the Sugar Bowl. We could end up with 3 claims on a national championship. Just putting that out there. Like I said, Pandora and her box. And for those of y'all that are not familiar with Greek mythology, she opens the box, and pain and suffering come into the world. And that's what's going to be coming in to somebody's world if these upsets happen. Like, that's what I'm here for, right? I'm here for how many fans are going to watch the Selection Show Sunday and go, are you kidding? How do we not get in? That happens if Florida is able to upset Alabama, if Notre Dame is able to upset Clemson, and Northwestern is able to upset Ohio State. But here's the other thing. There's a road for Iowa State to get into the playoff. And before you start shouting at me, allow me to walk through how this could happen. Okay? I want to walk through this. So, A&M is a 14-point favorite going into its regular season finale against Tennessee, who's 3-6. With a strong showing, lost by Clemson or Ohio State, the Aggies could slide into the playoff. Iowa State, 8-2, has a tougher road than A&M, though they're sitting there at number 6, which is to say the Cyclones could become the first 2-loss team to make it into the playoff if we get Northwestern beating Ohio State, we get Notre Dame beating Clemson, we get Texas A&M losing to Tennessee. Those 3 things can happen, and Cyclones beat Oklahoma, a top 10 team, in the Big 12 title game. They could probably slide in. They stand a chance of sliding in, right? It's wild, but I want to put it out there. Get the Cyclones their due, as they got one of the best tailbacks in all of college football in Breece Hall. Okay? Another thing that could happen if Pandora's box is flipped open. 2-loss Florida beats Alabama in the SEC championship game. All right? Would the committee keep out a 2-loss SEC champion with the best victory of any team all year at the expense of, say, 1-loss Notre Dame or 1-loss Bama? Because certainly another loss to Clemson, you got to believe that a Florida that beats an Alabama takes that spot, right? They'd have the best win, and they'd have a conference championship, and conference championships are part of the criteria. This is how Oklahoma continues to slide in there the last couple of years. They won the conference championship. This is the other reason why the Big 12 reinstituted the conference championship after a 6-year hiatus, because they did not want that to be the thing that keeps them out. Turns out, conference championship and no conference championship, Big 12 belongs to Oklahoma. It is an Oklahoma property. But then we got the Sun Belt playing for the territorial property, the territorial allotment that is the Big 12. Because ULL, Louisiana Lafayette, top 25 team, beat Iowa State by 17. Coastal Carolina's undefeated. They beat ULL. They have 2 top 25 wins. This would give them their 3rd. And the Sun Belt Championship. Gary Barta had the nerve to tell us all that Iowa State has looked like a different team since it's lost to ULL. But they lost. Homie, they lost. When do the results matter? If not now, when do they matter? I get it. Y'all want to see the best teams play in a playoff. You know what the best teams are, how they decide the best teams? It's called a scoreboard. What do we need a selection committee for? We got scoreboards. They are, by definition, objective. Did you win or did you lose? It's easy. It's easy. Not, you know what? I don't know that they look the same as they did in September when they played that. What are you talking about? You know, there's an argument to be made that Iowa State was healthier then than they are now. You know, same thing with ULL. And then we completely want to just shoo away Coastal Carolina and what they have managed to do all year. It's still the toughest thing to do in all of football. Go undefeated with double-digit wins. Just do it. All right? If you're still there at the end, match them up. Line them up. I get it. There are big-time sports people who believe that nobody wins if you match Alabama and Coastal Carolina. Yes, we win. We win. That's great television. That grows the sport. The sport becomes national, not regional, because the SEC is a region. It's literally a conference that's named after a region of the country. Hello? Just like the Pac-12 is named after a region of a country. What if you were able to make that a national sport by getting involved as many friggin' teams as possible? And if Alabama boat race Coastal Carolina, fine. Nobody argues about the 1 team and the 16 team in the NCAA tournament playing. Why is that? You know, why at all? I'm just, I'm with it. I understand that you want to see Alabama versus Ohio State. What I'm telling you is, you're going to get to see that anyway. And if somebody gets Ali Farouk Maneshed, that's great for us. That's great for television. My goodness, man. This is going to be so much fun. Once we expand this thing called the playoff. Once we expand this thing, like I've said 16. Some of y'all have said 8. Some of y'all have said 6. Give me 32. Ugh. You know, put everybody in that's supposed to be in. That's all I'm saying. Put everybody in that's supposed to be in. If you get a 5-loss team in the playoffs, fine. Fine. Did that 5-loss team win their conference championship or did they win an at-large bid? Because then you can have your precious selection committee. That's what they can be for. They can pick the dudes that need to be advocated for. I can't really get behind anybody who has an elitist attitude about college football. Because I am a member of the proletariat, okay? I'm a group of 5 school. This channel is a group of 5 school, okay? Ain't no blue blood. That's not what we are here. That's not how we did this. We started on a step mill with an iPhone and iMovie 3.5 years ago. No, we are Coastal Carolina here. We stand for Cincy. We stand for Tulsa. We stand for Central Florida. Yeah, we'll talk about the money. The money being Alabama, the money being Ohio State, the money being Oklahoma. But we stand for the magic year. The magic year. The year that Jamie Chadwell had no idea that his team was going to be a top 25 team. That his team was going to be undefeated and having played 10 games, 11 games, going into the Sun Belt Championship. We stand for that. We stand for the 2-star, the 3-star kid that was overlooked. We stand for Jabril Cox, who came out of Raytown, was overlooked because of an injury, shows out of North Dakota State as a 2-time FCS All-American, and then gets the grad transfer to LSU and probably gets to be in the running for a day 1 selection in the NFL draft. That's what we stand for. If you root for your team, fine. Root for Florida. Root for LSU. Root for Alabama. Root for Georgia. Root for Clemson. Nobody's saying don't do that. I am saying this. If you are not advocating for undefeated teams to be in a larger playoff, you're a coward and you're afraid. And I got no room for you. We don't do cowards here. That's not what we're about. Anybody, anywhere, anytime. Line them up. Let's go play. That's what coaches tell us all the time, is it not? Is it not? We will play in a parking lot. All right, prove it. We can draw up the chalk right now. You know, that's how we all came up playing this game. Backyards, parking lots, Two-hand touch. Two-hand touch him up, depending on where you grew up. Somebody can get this elbow. You know, the University of Miami was nobody from nowhere till Howard Schnellenberger, till Lou Saban showed up, got it going in the right direction. Then Howard Schnellenberger said, I'm going to win a national championship in the next 5 years. Did it in 4. Then you get Jimmy Johnson, who's tired of getting ran up on at Oklahoma State by Oklahoma, ends up at Miami, says, we're going to run it up on Penn State, and they did. We're going to run it up on Notre Dame, and they did. And we're going to beat Oklahoma like they stole something, and they did. Miami's a private school. Miami is elitist. And Jimmy Johnson said, no, Miami is Liberty City. Miami is Overtown. Miami's Dade County. Miami's Broward. Miami's Fort Lauderdale. Miami is the dirt in the gutter. We gets it how we lives it. That's what I'm here for. Why can't we get those teams into championship situations? Because they don't play in your precious Power 5? There are 10 conferences in the FBS, or didn't you notice? 10. Mason Fine tearing people up in North Texas. Can't get that dude into a situation except to beat up on an Arkansas team that everybody knows is bad. You continue to look around. Sincere. My goodness, man. Like, think about Sincere and what he's been able to do and how nobody got to see that dude play on television. National television. Thinking about Mount Union and Wisconsin Whitewater and McMinnville in Oregon. Thinking about these great college football programs that are smaller, that none of y'all have never heard of, never wanted to know anything about, that I know everything about, or not everything, let me back off, that I know quite a bit about, and I'm so excited about. Oh, a little breaking news here. Let me see. Mason Smith has committed to LSU, 6'5", 295-pound defensive tackle out of Louisiana. He is a 5-star and is a doggone good one. So, I'm all right. Let's check and see what the rankings have done with his commitment. LSU is at 4, 288 points. Georgia's at 294 plus. Ohio State's at 310 plus. Alabama, 23 commits, 315 plus. My goodness, man. Just running the game. Nick Saban, getting it in, getting it done. All right, what else we got in here, man? Shout out Jen Morris, new member to the channel community. Let me see if I can get some more questions going in here. Why LSU put players in the NFL? What do you mean why? Like, not for nothing, but Louisiana per capita, it's up there with Florida and Georgia when it comes to football players. You just don't let them leave the state. Like, that's what it is. Go down to, O. Perry Walker, don't let them leave the state. Go down to Newman every now and again. Pick up a Manning. Don't let him leave the state. Like West Monroe. Remember when West Monroe was destroying people? Remember when Evangel was destroying people? Heck, there's a kid coming out of, I believe it's Evangel. His name is General Booty, of the John David Booty variety. I wasn't there at the naming of General Booty. Otherwise, I might have raised a finger and said, "Have we thought about?" But no, my man's name is General Booty. That's an all-namer. Like JaQuincy McKinstry, Dakotas Crawford, whose middle name is To Ever Do It. Dakotas To Ever Do It Crawford. Needs to be a neurosurgeon. These hands are Dakotas To Ever Do It. They belong to Dakotas To Ever Do It. Oh my goodness. I love this so much. JaQuincy McKinstry, whose grandmama nicknamed him Kool-Aid. Yeah, man. We already got Smoke Monday at Auburn. Let me see. Hey, do you over Tennessee football recruit? What? I get that sometimes the thumbs let us down on the keyboard, but if y'all don't put like a complete sentence in the live stream, I'm not going to be able to answer the question. OSU just got Ty Williams out of Muskogee. Not just got. They've had Ty Williams out of Muskogee, and he's a freak athlete. It's a good pickup for them. Predictions on Bryce Foster ends up. I think we all know where he's leaning. I would be shocked if he does not pick that place. Hey, RJ just got on. Looks like Pickman getting some Oklahoma boys from my Hogs. Yeah, I've been on that, Dwight, for like 6 months. AJ Green wants to play running back. He was being recruited at cornerback. Sam Pittman said, you can play running back at Arkansas. He said, bet. Now the best player out of Tulsa Union is going to play for the Razorbacks and one of the best players in Green Country, quite honestly. Like between AJ Green and Braylon Presley at Bixby, yeah, two of the coldest dudes playing high school football this year. Let's see what else got in here. Us Georgia fans hurting right now. Yeah. Alabama flipping JoJo Earl. Did I miss that? Let me look and see. Did I miss that? They flipped JoJo. JoJo was going to LSU. I thought JoJo was at LSU. Pretty sure JoJo was at LSU. Let me make sure that JoJo was at LSU. Man, JoJo? What JoJo do? Yeah, JoJo's committed to LSU. All right. Like what? What are we doing? Thought we was done here. All right. What's that? Cause he like Garrett Nussmeier and him, they tight. What do you think about South Carolina recruiting being ranked 105th? I think it was going to be bad anyway. I think that Shane Beamer got the job with no time at all. I think that even Michigan with Jim Harbaugh, his first year was bad in recruiting. They weren't 105th. They were 37th. But I think that he's going to need a year, and then they'll be okay. Because there are kids in South Carolina, North Carolina, and Georgia for him to go get. To say nothing of Florida. He's already got inroads to Tidewater, to Maryland, Virginia, D.C. area. Give him some time. I'm a huge Shane Beamer fan. I can't wait to see what that man's team looks like here in a couple of years. Yes, I saw Savion Byrd sign with Oklahoma. There was a battle between SMU and Oklahoma for his services. So that means that Caleb Williams could end up with Savion Byrd, Bryce Foster, Tristan Lay, Cullen Montgomery. Goodness me. Going to have himself just a nice big wall in the next couple of years. Let's see what else we got in here. Think Byrd will play OT or DT and more at OU? I don't know, man. I thought Michael Thompson was going to play right tackle, and they tried to move him to the other side of the ball. So we'll see. No telling. No telling. Like, if you'd have asked me if I'd have thought that a true freshman would start on the offensive line for Oklahoma in 2020, I would have told you were high. Turns out you were right on it. Right on it if you'd have said that, because, like, Anton, he got to start. You know, Andrew Rain was getting significant game time. Let's see what else got in here. All right, let me go ahead and get this dude up off the channel. Because I don't know what you are doing, man, but you are getting on my doggone nerves. Let's see what else got here. Jaquindon Jackson. What do you mean thoughts? What do you mean? I sincerely dislike it when folks jump in here with name thoughts. What? Form a question. My goodness. Bama is right for an upset. All right, so I kind of want to speak to that. I want to speak to that right quick. Okay. In November 1979, University of Miami was a 49-point underdog as a 3-4 team against a Penn State team that had gone 22-2 in the previous 2 years. Penn State, top 25 team. Miami upset Joe Paterno, Penn State with Howard Schnellenberger in 1979 as a 49-point dog. Florida is a 16.5, 17-point dog to Alabama this weekend. For all the folks that don't think that Alabama can get got. Now, the likelihood of them getting got, nah, money. I can't see it. It's not just Devontae Smith, Najee Harris, and Mac Jones. It's also Patrick Surtain, Malachi Moore. Like, Dylan Moses, Christian Barmore, LeBron Ray. What you gonna do with that, man? What you gonna do with that? If LSU and its booty defense can pick off Kyle Trask 3 times in one game, what you think that Alabama and Pete Golden's defense gonna do to Kyle Trask? It's like we didn't have Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts ain't gonna save you, baby. He's not gonna save you. Kadarius Toney had 9 catches, 182 yards against LSU. They still lost. You better be able to run the ball, and you better take Todd Grantham's blitz every play playbook. That dude, I swear, you put up the 3 Madden plays, and you got, say, cover 1, you got cover 2, and then over here you got engage 8. Todd over here slamming that engage 8 button. Just slamming it. Nope, we're blitzing. We're blitzing. Nah, man. You better hang back and play zone. That's what you better do. Speaking of playing zone, I rewatched the 2003 Big 12 championship because I'm that guy. And what gets missed is the game was under control for a while. At one point, Darren Sproles had 7 carries for 8 yards. Okay? Mark Clayton was out there doing the doggone thing. And then it came apart. And that team lost the conference championship, still managed to play for a national championship. For all of those that want to say that Alabama wouldn't get in or Notre Dame wouldn't get in. Nah, man. The computers love number 1 teams, and guess who else loves number 1 teams? The people doing the ranking. The people that rank their team number 1 are not going to all of a sudden drop their team to number 7, even if that's what should happen. Let's go take a look more at, rankings. And signing day. Let's see if there's some new news coming in. So I told you about Mason Smith, who committed to LSU. Marcavius Brown, to Ole Miss. Xavier Sorey. Y'all realize that Miller Moss and Ja'Cory Brooks were playing with each other all this year? Golly, just cold down there, IMG. Let me see what else we got in here. LSU did pick up Demarius McGee, right, at corner. They're going to need him. I'm worried about scholarship limits for them now. But then again, they only had 60, 64, 63 players that were on scholarship, to say nothing of the dudes that opted out. We haven't talked about this because it's signing day, but money. Where's Eric Gilbert going to end up? Where's Eric Gilbert going to end up? That's an interesting question. Oh, man. What we got in here? Trying to see if I missed something I need to talk about. Ooh, Amante Watkins. Went to TCU. All right, Amante. That dude got speed like you read about. He's a 21-second 200-meter guy and a 10-second 100-meter guy. And then Alabama flipping Keanu Code, who I covered. UCLA picking up Josh Moore. Well, let me see. All right, let me check the chat. See if we can't get this. I get the Gilbert's leaving, but where's he going to go, Denzel? That's the question. Bama don't play D. What you talking? Oh, somebody else is having. See, I jump in the middle of other people's conversations going on in the chat from time to time. So I'll read this comment aloud and be like, what are you talking about? They're not talking to me, talking to somebody else. Can Trask still win the Heisman if he beats Bama? Ooh, that's a good question. Yes is the answer. Kyle Trask went for 474 against LSU, but that ain't what we're talking about. We're talking about him losing to LSU. He goes 474 against Alabama. Yeah, probably going to win the Heisman Trophy, because that would also mean you probably beat Alabama. Maybe. If he goes 474 against Alabama and a loss, no, he's not going to win the Heisman Trophy. He goes 474 against Alabama and a win, yeah, he's going to win the Heisman Trophy. Kyle Pitts already locked up the Mackey Award. And then we have to really discuss what the hell is going on with Florida's defense, because did they win a shootout, or did Florida's defense show up? That's as interesting as anything else to me. Let me see. Ohio State has a base full of whiners. They're the worst fans. Okay, all right, chill out. Dude says Bama will destroy Ohio State. Look, Clemson don't want Ohio State. This dude surely doesn't think that Ohio State is any good. Why y'all afraid? Like for real, why y'all afraid? If you don't think they're any good, why are you talking so much noise? I don't talk noise about people that I don't think are any good. On the Twitters and in the comments, people trying to get me into fights with other YouTubers and other sports media types. Nah, I'm good. I'm straight. I'm good. Nah, man, just let that go. But if you are going to talk about them out loud, they already in your brain. Jerome Brown used to show up to the coin toss at Miami as defensive tackle and tell the referee, we don't want the ball. Give them the ball. Matter of fact, put the ball at the 50. We'll come out and play defense. We don't want the ball. That's how intimidating they were. They were already in your skull. Okay? They're already in your brain. And they continue to talk about you. They were the trash talkingest dudes on the face of the earth. And those are my people. Y'all know that my favorite thing about college football is talking noise. Talking so much trash. Because, people that aren't used to you talking trash, they don't know how to respond. They don't know how to talk it back. They don't know how to get you out of their head. They are liable to let that eat them alive. And then they out their game. And you continue to spiral. You in this quicksand. The more you struggle, the worse it gets. I'm here for that. So if Ohio State's in your brain, in your skull, you're outing yourself. It's like Oklahoma fans that are talking noise about Iowa State. That's because Iowa State's in your brain. Give that some thought. Why is Ohio State in your brain? They're our opponent. Nah. Kansas is your opponent. It weren't in your brain. Texas Tech was in your opponent. They weren't in your brain. It's because they beat you. Texas is your opponent. Wasn't in your brain. You know what I mean? Keep it 100 when you're talking. Keep it 100. Argue with all the hatred aside, do you think Jimbo is on the rise with A&M? I don't hate A&M. I don't hate Jimbo. It's the Aggies fans that show up in my comments. That show up in my mentions. Okay? Talking all sorts of noise. Ain't won nothing since 1939. Literally. To use that word wrongly. They have not won anything. Anything at all. Since before World War II. And they want to come here and talk noise. Managed to ruin Kyler Murray in a way that Lincoln Riley had to rebuild him. Like the $6 million man. Right? Ain't been much of anything since Johnny Manziel. And even then, you're showing off for a Cotton Bowl. Not for a playoff spot, for a Cotton Bowl. But nah, if Jimbo gets this quarterback situation figured out, I don't know what it is about Kellen Mond, but that dude is real Jekyll and Hyde. He went for 335 against Alabama in October and looked just utterly awful against LSU a couple weeks ago. I don't understand. Let me see. Blackshire flipping to LSU from Bama. Ooh, what? Did that happen? Yo. Kendrick Blackshear, by the way, is looks like a 35-year-old man. He is enormous. He is enormous. See, Xavier Worthy sticking with Michigan. Yeah, I got to see that come through first. So I don't think Blackshear's flipping from Bama. One of the reasons that he picked him is because they can help him rehab his knee. And ain't nobody really going to argue with that. Let's see. It's got some great training staff and great training facilities over there. Let's see. Would you rather build a team around Kyler, Baker, or Hurts? Kyler. Kyler is the best athlete on the face of the earth. Baker is a talisman and a good to great quarterback. Y'all know how I feel about Jalen Hurts. Why are you going to put me in this conversation about Jalen Hurts? I had all these people showing up because he got a win for the Eagles last weekend. I'm going, cool. I didn't know that he threw up the hooks. Come to find out he crossed this year, post-grad. Cool, whatever. I don't think that Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback. I've been very clear about that. To see Taysom Hill is also to think about a dude that I don't think is a good quarterback. And Jalen Hurts made Taysom Hill look like a poor man's Jalen Hurts. Okay? Nah, man. That's not who I'm riding with. Also added that Carson Wentz is gonna be back. They paid him all that money. Like it's something like $70 million on their books if they release him. Like dead cap space. Nah, man. Carson Wentz gonna get another shot to win that job. But yes, Kyler is an actual mutant. Kyler is one of the first progenitors of the mutant gene. Who, in your opinion, won recruiting today? Man, I mean, LSU did a lot for itself. Oklahoma did a lot for itself. But Ohio State and Alabama are still 1 and 2. You know, like, doesn't look like anybody's going to catch them anytime soon either. Farino, all you got is $5 bills? Like, that's I'm making jokes about it. Okay. Black Shear already signed, I think, at 11:30. Yeah, that's what I thought too. But like, my man shows up here, drop $5 to say almost anything. So, yeah. See, my girl just got in the text message to ask me if I can let her dog out. Yes, I will go let your dog out. This dude said, don't sleep on Jay Hurts. What you mean, don't sleep on? I watched the dude. The dude can't throw deep to his left. The dude can't throw the ball downfield with any sort of regular accuracy. The dude is too quick to pull it down and start running. He ain't the guy that I'm gonna draft in the second round. That's not who I'm gonna do. Okay. Let me see. All right. So right quick, I'm going to mute the microphone here in just a second so that I can make a phone call, but I'm going to keep the camera on so that you can see that I'm still doing the thing. And when we come back, hopefully we have what I think is an outstanding guest. So mark this time for the rewatch if you are not around for it. But let me make this phone call right quick. Okay. Mystery guest, big guest that I was so happy to bring for you, the people. And I'm so glad he's joining us. Mr. Mark Clayton. Mark, how you doing, man?
What up, RJ? I'm good, bro.
Oh, man. I'm having a good day. You know, today is kind of like a national holiday for your boy. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Okay. Because, like, you know how we do on the signing day when all the kids make it official, and then you can see the university start to mention names, you know, and put them on. So let me ask you. Let me start with this. For those of y'all that don't know, Mark Clayton, one of the best wide receivers to ever do it at the University of Oklahoma, a first-round draft pick, dude that had like 83 for like 1,200, 2003. I'm going to date you a little bit. That was my freshman year of high school, right?
Yeah.
And it's my favorite team to watch, that 2003 team. We'll talk about it a little bit. But what was your signing day like?
Ooh, that's good. I ain't been back. I ain't thought about that in so long, boy. Well, golly. All I remember is a picture that we took in the cafeteria where everybody signed. And it was cool because we had about, I want to say we had about 8 or 9 guys signed. Maybe it was like 10. I don't know. It was a bunch, man. Signed, which was awesome to share with those guys and have a it spoke a lot about our coach and how he helped us in recruiting and then our talent that we had around us. But man, that's such a blur. I ain't gonna lie.
Well, I mean,
well, it was a great time.
It feels different now because I think we're better about covering it. It's national news. Like ESPN2 has it basically going for 8 to 12 hours. Like I built so much around it as well. So we view it differently, right? With digital and YouTube and Twitter. But the reason I asked that is like, did you know any of the dudes that you were coming in with? Like, today it feels like they're all in a group chat and they've known each other for years. Like, were there any surprises for you?
Yeah, no, I mean that, to that point, like totally different. It was pretty simple. It wasn't no hype around it. It wasn't like none of that. Like we were celebrated, at school with the coaches. And then there was some, like a news reporter or whatnot that, wrote an article about it. And we saw our names in the paper for, signing with whatever school. But dude, it was nothing like not even remotely close, bro. Like nothing like today. And it's awesome to see how, what is progressed into. Like is I'm excited. I get to pull up and look at all the kids that signed, and then there's little videos, and then each of their highlight is attached to it, and they got cool graphics, and it's a whole nother world. Like I got a package from the school for recruiting that I'm put my hoodie on and post another pic.
I saw that.
So it's awesome.
So what'd you think when they were including you, right? Like, what'd you think?
Man, I was like, dude, I love my university, man. I'm like, bro, they do it right, man. It's because it's always a meshing of the old with the new, like, respecting and honoring what was and looking forward to and being excited about what's coming. And we do a really good job of that. And I was just like, man, I'll thank God that I went here.
So I understand there were some things that, I say things. Let me go at this another way.
Yeah.
Your breakout year is that 2003 year, and it is my favorite team. Yeah. What do you think changed for you?
For me, it was physicality and then mentality. Like I was a little dude going in there. I wasn't very big, and then as I grew, I had to get used to what that was, and then on top of that, I was like a kid. I had fun. I was joking around all the time. I ate candy all the time. I was a little snotty nose, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed kid. And that summer, like going into that spring, going into that summer was different. I also had surgery my first year there. And then my sophomore year, I only played like a handful of games. And so it was like, man, I kind of grew up through having surgery and having those setbacks, my body developing a little bit more. And then one of my boys, Will Peoples, challenged me. And going into that summer, it was just the mentality change. And I got a lot more serious about doing it, at a level that was beyond where I was at. And, man, went into that junior season. And it was like, taking candy from a baby. And I was determined to, anytime it came to me, I was going to make it count.
Man, and that was like, as a short dude, as a slight dude myself, right? It's easy for me to draw my attention to number 9 over there and see what he's doing with the football. The thing that I thought was most outstanding is the dudes that you had to go up against, like first team on that defense, which is still ridiculous to me to think about. Dusty Voracek, Tommy Harris, Dan Cody, Teddy Lehman. Brandon Everett. Yeah, like what was practice like for you?
Practice was lit, bro. Practice was it was just competition and making it easy on Saturday. Like, our deal was like we go hard during the week and we push each other like we do. Sure, Saturdays that's gonna be fun. And that came from the experience that we had, and our seniors had when Coach Stoops first got there, just building that foundation and that culture of we grind so hard that we go to a game, and that's just the icing, that part fun. And so, man, those practices was, I mean, that's what made us, and especially as a receiving corps going against those DBs, man, it's huge.
Talking with Mark Clayton, one of the last members of a class, or one of the members of a class that went 4-0 against Texas, among other things. I want to make sure I get that in there. Mark, looking at what we've seen in this really weird season, this pandemic Corona season, Devontae Smith has an opportunity to win the Heisman Trophy, be the first dude to do that since '91 at wide receiver, and only the fourth ever. What do you think it says about the game today that a wide receiver can still go and have the kind of season he's having and be in contention for not just the Biletnikoff Award but the Heisman Trophy?
Man, I love where the game is at today. I'm like, we are getting to see what would happen if you had like this 8-year-old stud athlete get trained by a professional player until he went to college. And then while he was in college, and just seeing like the level of talent across the board, like it's a lot wider group of really talented guys early, not just in college but in the NFL too. Justin Jefferson going ham, DK Metcalf in the second year, crazy. I mean, there's some others, but anyway. It's pretty cool to see kind of the development of guys nowadays and all the money that's been put into training for kids at a younger age. And now they're showing up and showing out earlier.
Do you have a favorite story from your days that was, oh, okay, so this is what it's like to play football at Oklahoma?
Well, let me see. When I was at So early, my freshman year at Oklahoma, I was intimidated by a guy named Ante Jones. I got to school, I was like 149, 150. I was quick, side to side, laterally. Just when it came to getting down the field and going vertical, I wasn't really going anywhere. But Ante, though, he was like junior, senior, one of them, and swole and fast and strong, could jump, do all this stuff. And going against that dude one-on-one was like, I hated it. First time, I'm just trying to do my little dance thing, and that boy put his right hand on my chest and almost caved it. That boy, like, jammed me so good. I was like, oh, Lord, oh, Lord, help. Boy, yeah, that was a welcome to college moment, really. This is a whole nother level. And then in the NFL, I think that moment was more the experience. Like, when my rookie year, my first game, going out, it was like, this is incredible. We played the Colts too, so Peyton Manning and all those guys over there. And it was a Monday night game. And Ray, it was defense introduction. So Ray, did that, his dance and all that stuff, and the energy, and, her 22-year-old rookie just in La La Land, and, the hair standing up on the back of my neck. And here we are on the biggest stage in sport. I'm in the NFL, like, for real, with these guys on the same field playing against freaking Manning and the Colts. And it was insane, bro. That was wow, this is, let me pinch myself. Can't believe this is a real moment. Which was really cool.
No, man, like, I'm glad you brought that up, because, like, I'm actually doing some research into the U, Jimmy Johnson's U, what we can call Dennis Erickson's U, and then, talk about those Ken Dorsey teams, the Larry Coker teams, and I guess I'm getting to Ray Lewis and Ed Reed. You went from playing against one great defense in practice to playing against another great defense in practice. Did you ever think sometimes,
Yeah.
yo, man, like,
Yeah.
can I be styling on somebody? Or what was it like to
Right.
try to go up against those guys, the Pro Football Hall of Famers, the legends of the game?
Man, I learned so much from them. Because that's just even another level of like understanding of the game and knowledge of the game, and combined with physical ability is just crazy. My rookie year was that year that Deion stayed, like he was still there.
Oh yeah, okay.
So I did one-on-ones with him, and between him and like Chris McAllister, they taught me quite a bit just in regards to what actually scared them, like what they respect, what would make them, open their hips or something like that. Like it was, and what they see, like how they cover guys by they look at the quarterback. A lot of times don't even look at the receiver. Sometimes they just feel the receiver. Man. Look at the quarterback. I was like, that's what.
Man,
serious? Like, yeah. He gonna tell me. He'll tell me with his shoulders. He'll tell me what's up.
Dude.
I'm like, gosh, what the hell?
No, like it's real though, cause like
yeah.
I want to also clue the audience in right quick. It's not just Ray Lewis and Ed Reed. It's Will Demps. It's Kelly Gregg, right? It's Chris McAllister, right?
Scott.
My God, like, and then on scout team, like
Double J.
Yeah, like. Cordell Stewart was on this squad, and I forget that, right?
Cordell freaking Stewart, bro.
It's like Slash was over here. It's like, no, I'm catching passes from Slash. No, I still got the like people talking about Flutie's Hail Mary, and I remember his against Michigan, right? Because Ty Law is getting mossed by Michael Westbrook. Anyway,
right.
How has the game changed in the NFL, particularly since you retired?
Man, the rules open the game up a lot more through the air.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest change, and we'll continue to see that through the points scored, and records broken sooner than later. And I think taking away some of the physicality has made it a lot more of a skill game. You can't, just rely on being able to you can't just like grab people and hold and all that stuff and get away with it. You gotta have skill, like real skill, and be able to be agile and be instinctual and guess a lot. I mean, it really is just it's calculated guessing that happens. But yeah, it's definitely opened the game up a lot more through the air. DBs I'd say it's more difficult than it was in the past. And I know we're going to continue to see a lot of scoring going forward. This is just the beginning. And, man, it's been cool. I mean, obviously being a receiver, I'm like, man, I would have loved to play today. Absolutely. Like, please sign me up.
Nah, man, like, so I look at Tyreek Hill, I'm like, yeah, Mark used to play that position.
Could done it.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like,
done it.
Oh, goodness me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Mark Clayton.
Yes, sir.
All-time great for Oklahoma. One of the best wide receivers to ever come through the university. Thank you so much for doing this, Mark. I appreciate it, man.
Dude, you're very welcome, man. I'm obviously looking forward to this weekend. And I would say I got us winning.
What's the score?
38.
Okay.
38-13.
38-13.
That's my score. I know, really weird. I don't know. I just feel like I did an odd. Like what?
Like, no,
yeah.
I'm right there.
38-13. That was my score.
OU's just a 5-point favorite, right? You know that. They talk about Iowa State and they gassing them up. They the number 16.
Yeah, they're good. I know. I don't. Hey, they're good. But they run the ball well. They got. I know Coach is he got them boys on cloud 9. But I'm banking on our defensive front. I feel like I'm feeling a big game from them up front, and that's what's going to propel us.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yep.
Betting on the defensive front against Breece Hall, Brock Purdy, Iowa State. 38-13. I'm going to mark that down.
Yep.
Mark Clayton. We're going to get that in there. All right.
Yeah.
Man, I'm not that brave. I'm like 35-28 Oklahoma. But like, cause I just
okay.
Yeah, man, they know
Okay.
they're enormous at tight end. They use the tight ends like Oklahoma uses wide receivers. They're like 6'4", 6'5", 6'7", and then they can run the football. So if the DBs can stay in front of these trees that are catching footballs, then it's gonna be easy. But last time that they tried to do that, they got sunned. So we'll see.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to seeing what Barnes got. It's a big game for him.
Ooh.
If that length can match up, I mean, that's going to be taking their top guy. Like, I don't know how they're going to line up, but I just feel like that could be a nice matchup for their top guy.
Dude, I would really love for Robert to come on. I would love nothing more than for that dude to show out, right? Like, I've been wanting to show for like 3 years. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, come on, man.
Right. Come on. You do, baby.
Right.
You do, baby. Come on now.
It's in there.
This is it. If it's the time, it's now, man. Hey, he in there, man. That's my hope. I hope he step up and that his length played a part in why the tight ends, they get what they get, but it's not nothing that's going to, lead them to a victory.
That is Mark Clayton, and I appreciate you, sir. Thank you so much.
No doubt, RJ, man. Appreciate you having me, dude.
Yeah, man. I'm going to have you back.
All right.
All right. Doses.
All right. Later.
All right, so that was fun. Mark Clayton coming through. I understand that not everybody that watches this channel is an Oklahoma fan, but you know what? Let's keep it 100. Let's keep the roots going. And it's signing day. It's kind of a holiday, and I thought it was cool, and he consented to do it, and we got it done. If you like the channel, please subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button on this video. Upload a video every single day, most times like 4 times a day. You can always catch it, and usually, if it's a story that is big in college football, gets covered here. Big things popping. Can't wait to talk to y'all soon. Doses.